So this episode of My Next Life as a Villainess was just so darn cute. Basically, it starts out with Katarina reading this romance novel, and she's just so into it. And she's like, man, when I used to live in Japan, I was all into anime and manga. I wish I had another friend to discuss this stuff with. And boom, like a godsend, she gets invited to Alan and his brother's tea party. Then we cut over to Gerald and Alan getting ready for the tea party, and Gerald's like, everything's gonna have to be perfect. There's gonna be so many guests. I don't know if I can handle this. And Alan's like, I know another thing you can't handle. You can't handle snakes. And so they have a little bit of a quip back and forth. And then basically Alan says, really the only thing I'm good at is predicting the moves of Katarina. And then Gerald's like, well, that's true, but don't you go thinking that you can get in my way with her. She is my fiance. But it really just shows how much Alan has grown as a character between last episode and this episode, because he's laughing and carrying up with his brother. Then we are introduced to two new characters. A sharply dressed boy by the name of Nicholas Artis and his sister, who has white hair and red eyes, named Sophia Artis. And they have been invited to the tea party as well. Then we cut over to the tea party, and Katharina, like she normally does, is literally stuffing her face full and has to go to the bathroom. She runs to wherever the bathroom is, only to be faced by a dog. Now remember, in her past life, she was scared of dogs. Turns out she is still scared of dogs. And so while the dog just wants to play and chases after her, she runs and runs and climbs up a tree, thinking, oh, now I can finally get down, only to be confronted by hearing a bunch of bullies surrounding Sophia. The girls are saying, why'd you come to a party like this? Why'd you come to Prince Gerald's party? You're a cursed child. And before I go any further, I have to also explain that in a previous scene, it was shown how everybody fawns over Nicholas because they just see him as the perfect gentleman and he loves his sister very much, but they see Sophie as a cursed child and they always pick on her, kids and adults alike. So keep that in mind. So Katharina, she's in the tree, right? And she wants them to leave. And so she hops down like ninja style. And she says, would you very kindly leave? Like she hollers. And they run off like madmen, you know. Or I guess mad ladies in this case. And poor Sophia, she's like, you didn't have to run. And so Sophia's trying to thank Katharina for what she just did. And in comic relief anime fashion, Katharina's like, I gotta go, run. Only to the next scene when Katharina tries to eat some more again. Who should come up but Sophia? And so they get to talking, or rather, Katharina starts thinking how pretty she is and she lets it slip. And she starts thinking about that romantic love novel that she was thinking about at the beginning of the episode. And then turns out Sophia finishes the line that Katharina was saying. And so Katharina, she's so excited, she literally grabs Sophia and starts shaking her. And she's like, you know that novel too? Oh my gosh, we're gonna be best friends. And she has to stop herself and apologize and introduces herself and basically invites this girl to her home. She comes over along with her brother and basically they have a good time, Sophia and Katharina, as they really get to spend time with her. And before you know it, it's time for Sophia to leave. It's sort of weird. This is a really creepy scene. It's like, Katharina's like, can I touch your hair real quick? And side note, if they weren't this young, you know, it would be weird. But instead of being creeped out about it, Sophia doesn't know how to take it, because this is when the information comes out that she was always thought of a cursed child because she has, in her words, the color of old person's hair and blood red eyes as a demon. Basically, Katarina's like, I think you're pretty and cute. Basically, you get a big red blush and it's just so cute and just adorable. And on the way home, we get a flashback where Nicholas is telling Sophia, one day you'll find someone who will like you for you. And it's just so touching, and just, oh, the cuteness in the still pictures that they show of these girls hanging out. It's just adorable. Next scene we have is of Katerina and Kenneth coming over to Sophia and Nicole's house. And one thing that I find particularly interesting and also just sweet as all get out is that Sophia's parents really wanted her to make friends. That's why they urged Sophia to go along with Nicholas to this party. And then by this scene, they first start out by thanking Katerina from the bottom of their hearts for being their daughter's friend, and just noting how much her mood has changed, because you gotta imagine always being called a curse and always being looked down upon by everyone else except for your family is just a horrible, horrible existence for a little girl. And at this time, they're around 8 and 10 years old, and they spend a lot of time together. And then it turns out that Katerina's gotta go. But then before she goes, Sophia gives her a lots of books. And so Sophie is like, I've gotta give you one more book, Katerina. Sorry, I got those mixed up. So Sophie runs back to her room, and as she's walking up the steps, Sophie basically utters a line that was similar to her old friend. It just awakens her mind up even more, and she realizes how deep a connection she has with Sophie. While Nicholas and Catherine and Kenneth are waiting on Sophie to return, there's a lot of odd silence, and we come to find out that basically as Katharina tries to make small talk, she starts seeing herself as the nagging lady next door. But then we also find out that she's scared that Kenneth might like Nicholas too much, and it's really funny. It's almost like they both are like rivals because they both blush over him. I want to preface this by saying I believe that that's a sin. Like I said in my last review, I do think that it's funny the way the characters act. It makes sense. And the scenes between Sophia and Katerina are just so cute, and just as long as it makes sense story-wise, I don't really have a big problem with it. Just my personal preference. So after that, Katerina and Sophia basically tell each other bye, and boom, we get a time skip from her age of 8 to her age of 15, and it's her birthday. And basically, she goes out and she dances with everyone. I'll quickly go through their interactions. Basically, Gerald is a creep, because as they're dancing, he says, I have no intention of breaking our engagement. And Katharina's like, okay. And then Gerald's like, I don't think you understand. I could take you anytime I wanted to. And it's like, And then he gives her a hickey, and it's like in that weird, like, creepy voice, like, you'll just have to settle for a taste of me right now. And it's just like, in the original game, it was supposed to be Katharina that was jealous of anybody making a move on him. But it almost seems like in this version, in this world, he's being the more clingy, and you get a hint of that. Maybe it's just his character, maybe I'm overthinking it, but it's just the way it happened, it just creeped me out. And then we have Kenneth, who rightly sees this happen, and it's like Katharina's main goal was protecting Kenneth, and now we see the roles reversed, where Katharina either is playing dumb or she really doesn't see how far Gerald is going on the creep scale, which I doubt that she is completely oblivious. But anyway, Kenneth is like, watch your back around Gerald. And so it's just a good switch of the whole dynamic. Then we have Alan coming up and just being oblivious like always. Then we have Nicholas, and we sort of get a dance, and we sort of get the fact that, he likes Kenneth. And then later that night, both Mary and Sophia want to dance with Katharina, and Katharina just does a joke. Oh, well, I can't dance the men's part, I can only dance the women part. And Sophia's like, well, I can dance both parts. I've made sure to plan for this and all that. And it's just really, really funny. All in all, it was just a great episode. One thing I forgot to mention is that when Katharina finally meets Nicholas, it dawns on her that Nicholas is another character from Fortune Lover. But it also turns out that Nicholas' route in the game has nothing to do with Katharina. So Katharina in this life can basically befriend Sophia and be consequence-free without raising a doom flag or a bad end scenario for herself. So it's just really nice to see that she can make friends. And speaking of making friends, by this point in the series or in Katharina's life, you see all these people that she's, over the past 2 episodes and this episode, she's got a support network. So as we saw this very generic game Katharina to this multifaceted person, because she's not trying to be a pushy, evil person. She's just trying to survive and make a good life. Let's say prayer. Dear Heavenly Father, I thank you for this day, and I thank you for everything you give me, God. Lord, I thank you for allowing me to make these videos, and hopefully they bring smiles to my viewers' face, Lord. May my viewers be out of a stressful situation whenever they watch my videos and just have a good time. And may this place just become a place where we can discuss anime and just have a good time, Lord. I pray that this video will get lots of views and that this channel will get lots of subscribers. Thank you for another day. In Jesus I pray, and forgive me for all my sins. Amen. Wow, you made it to the end of the video. Thank you so much. While you're at it, why not go to the left-hand corner and click on my previous My Next Life is a Villainess video. Or click down below to see the playlist. Or click to the right side of the screen on my little avatar to subscribe. Remember to give the video a like and share this on Twitter.